Ground Sluicing 101. What is a waterfall drop and a glory hole?
This is what you call a real type of glory hole. When you got bedrock and it just dives right down in there off the waterfall. The old miners, they cut this out like that on purpose. It's called ground sluicing. And that's what we've been doing, ground sluicing 101. This episode is dedicated to ground sluicing 101. Well, what is ground sluicing? For most people, they think of it as taking a stream sluice and dropping it on the ground and digging material from the side of a creek or whatever and tossing it through there. Well, in the old days, ground sluicing had a different meaning. The miners, when they realized there's a strike going on someplace, they'd find a draw like this, and they'd locate where the bedrock is. And they would start chiseling out holes in the bedrock and drops. And there you'll get the term a waterfall drop with a glory hole, which that in sense means, in turn, that means as the water falls, material falls off a waterfall, it hits into a hole, it boils, it fills up, and it's always boiling right there until the rocks get too big. The miners would have to, if the rocks got too big, they would go in there and start cleaning it out. But they would chisel it out in stair steps, and they would work it back and forth from side to side as the water came down the mountain or the hillsides. It takes a lot of work to dig back underneath the long bedrock. And today, yes, we are following blue clay. You've heard me talk about it before, is following the blue clay. And here we have a blue clay sediment layer where all the blue rock and green rock stone have been crushed so much from hydraulicking that has created a blue clay. And in these deposits, in these cracks of the bedrock, the deposits form of this blue clay, and the gold falls down inside of there. Well, the old timers, they would work these sides and drop the material in, wash it into these glory holes, as they would call it, or a boil hole. This one here, after this material's gone, it will be 18 inches deep, tapering back to zero in a diagonal. It raises up and has another little series, and then it falls into another pool on this side. Then the bedrock, you can see under the muddy water there from he's walking around, it tails back down. Now my friend has worked this and cleaned this 4 times over 50 years at 10-year intervals. So what we work in these spots is redeposits. But with my battery-powered equipment and my cool contraptions, as he calls it, I'm able to come in here and clean up all these pockets, and he was able to see bedrock for the first time and see the bottom of pockets of the gold that he's missed all these years, even though underneath this tree, he's pulled out over an ounce of gold in quartz specimen nuggets. We're talking 100 grains here, 150 grains here, so we're talking 4 gram, 5 gram nuggets. And he said it's repetitive all the time through here, but he was digging them out of these little pockets over the years, but he never got to get them clean. All right, guys, that's a little explanation of ground sluicing 101, what a waterfall drop and a glory hole is.
Now let's look at ground sluicing on a large scale from hydraulic monitor washing.
You can see the hand stacking here. Up high on the mountain up here, they did hydraulic washing, and with monitors, they had cutters and stackers. The cutters cut the side of the mountain down, and as the material starts washing down the hill, they had stackers, and that's other hydraulic monitors pushing the material down the hill. And as they got it into their troughs and everything of the direction they want the water material to come to, they direct it towards these ground sluices, where all the rocks and boulders all fill up in here and run and run and run. Once they're full, they stop all the water up top. Then some man comes out here, bunch of men come out here, and they move every one of these rocks out of these ground sluices. There's 4 of these ground sluices out here. All right, just give you an idea here how deep this is. Look at that manzanita. It's pretty deep in here. It's probably at one time good 6 feet deep through here. Looks like somebody's done a little metal detecting here. Manzanita roots always hold something.
You can see how deep this ground sluice is. Now let's get back to the real work.
All right, just a quick update. The water's a little bit clearer now, and you can start to see this is where I put my pump in so I can run my high banker. And I'll set that up right here, discharging out and down the creek. I've come back in here. These boil holes are 18 inches deep, 15 inches deep of material that's been ran through here as I knock it off the side. In the old days, old timers, they would take and make a mining pick like this, and instead of the prongs turning side to side, they'd have the metal forge guy, the blacksmith, turn the prongs one direction, so it's like two big hooks. And they didn't have a regular mining pick on it. The handle was made round, or the shaft insert, the grommet was made round, so they could take any tree limb and insert it in there. Now the closest thing we can come to a sluice rake nowadays, and works pretty dang good, is a little garden rake like this. No, you can't pull big rocks, but you definitely will get rid of bigger rocks, leaving your good pay material down there. Because hey man, if there's a rock that's that big, that's a nugget, pretty sure you'll see it.
I know. Let's get the high banker set up and let's see some gold. Time to shovel some material.
Well, the pump got plugged up with the root and stopped, and all of a sudden my buddy says, "Stop! Don't go anymore." What do you think, you guys? Yeah. You got us. Where'd you go? There they are.
These nuggets aren't very big, but they're super rough, and keeping rough gold in your equipment is really hard.
All right, we got some nice pieces of gold today, guys. My buddy says we are getting into our pay layer, and we should start seeing this almost every single time. Well, that's a nice little chunk turned over. Look at that. Ooh. All right, let's get nugget number one. Let's get the small one first. I'm gonna say just under a quarter gram. Yeah, right at a quarter gram. 0.27, nice. I'll set that on the side here. Let's get the big one. I'm gonna say 0.6. No, let's say, all right, 3/4 a gram. 0.4. All right, half gram, almost a half gram. We'll take that and put it under the scope, see if we can get some good pictures of it. Definitely want to see what kind of material, if it's gray clay or if it is just regular hillside material. We got 3/4 a gram between them. And let's get all the fines. I told my buddy it'd be close to a gram. For him, it'll be like 3/4 of a penny weight. Grains is 14.3. Dry weight 0.6 of a penny weight, so not quite 3/4.
Even though this is really small gold, you can see that it's super rough. And once again, it's quartz infused. So we have specimen gold. And finding that specimen gold, I'll tell you what, it's always a joy because it brings double the spot price. Anyways, you guys, you can see we're on the pay layer and we're just going to keep going at it. Thanks for watching this episode of CGT Prospect and Adventures, and I hope you learned something about ground sluicing today.